All right, everybody, welcome back to another deep dive.
Yeah, hey everyone.
Today, we are tackling something that I think a lot of people struggle with, and that is reading comprehension.
Yeah, definitely.
Especially I think if you are learning English as a second language,
hmm
this can be a real
Oh, absolutely.
challenge.
Yeah.
So we found this awesome guide that's all about kind of the best reading tips,
hmm
and we are going to go through
hmm
and pull out some of the things that we thought were most impactful
Yes.
and that you can start using today to really improve your reading comprehension. And I think one of the biggest takeaways from all of this research
Yeah.
is you don't have to understand every single word to understand what you're reading.
Right.
Isn't that amazing?
It is freeing, isn't it?
Yeah. So let's just jump right into tip number 1,
Okay.
which is start with simple text.
Yes.
Now you're probably thinking like, duh.
Right.
But like, what does that actually mean and why is that so important?
Right. Well, especially if you're, learning English as a second language, or even if you're just trying to improve your reading comprehension,
Yeah.
starting with something that is maybe a little bit easier for you than what you would normally read will help build your confidence.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, if you're going to start working out,
Right.
you don't start with the heaviest weights.
Yeah.
You kind of work your way up. So maybe you start with like children's books or graded readers.
I love that analogy.
Yeah.
Okay. So how do I know what level is right for me?
Okay, so there's a really cool trick called the 5-finger rule.
Ooh, 5-finger rule.
Yes. Have you heard of this?
I have not.
Okay, so basically, you open a book to just any random page, and you start reading, and each time you come to a word that you don't know, you hold up a finger.
Okay.
And if you get to 5 fingers before the end of the page, then it's probably a little too hard for you right now.
I love it. I'm using this. The 5-finger rule. Write it down.
Yes.
Okay. So tip number 2 is all about using a dictionary wisely. Now, I love dictionaries.
Yeah.
I'm a word nerd. But this guide is saying don't use it for every word you don't know.
Right.
What?
Yeah, it's kind of counterintuitive.
Yeah.
But hear me out, because this is all about context clues.
Okay.
And so if you think about it like a detective game,
Okay.
all of those words surrounding that word that you don't know are giving you hints.
Yeah.
And so you can look for root words. You can look for prefixes and suffixes that you do recognize.
Right.
And chances are you can figure out at least kind of a general idea of what that word means.
Okay. So what if the sentences around the word I don't know are also confusing?
Well, sometimes it helps to read ahead a little bit,
Okay.
because sometimes the author will kind of clarify the meaning
Yeah.
later on in the paragraph or the chapter.
Right.
But if you're still stuck, then it's totally okay to use that dictionary.
Okay. Phew.
Yeah.
I was worried there for a second. All right. So
So you can use it, but just don't,
go crazy.
Yeah, don't go crazy.
Yeah. Okay. I like it. Okay. So this next one is read aloud for pronunciation.
Oh, yeah.
Now, isn't that something we do with like little kids?
Well, we do it with little kids, but
Does it really help adults?
yeah, it really does.
Okay.
Because it might feel a little silly at first.
Yeah.
But when you're reading aloud, you are engaging way more of your brain.
Okay.
Because you're seeing the words, you're hearing them, and you're also saying them.
Yeah.
So it helps you remember the words and the pronunciation.
Okay.
So much better.
You know what I actually have a lot of trouble with is pronunciation.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So like words that have silent letters or like weird vowel sounds,
Right.
that really trips me up. Do you think this would help with that?
It will definitely help you with that, because it's kind of like training your mouth to make those sounds
Okay.
and to get used to the rhythm of the language.
I'm going to try it. I might record myself later.
Yes.
Okay.
See how you're doing.
Okay. Next tip is a classic for a reason. It's highlighting and note-taking.
Yeah.
But why is this important? Like, is this more than just making our books look pretty?
It is way more than that,
All right.
because it forces you to interact with what you're reading.
Right.
So you're not just passively reading the words, you're actually thinking about what's important,
Yeah.
what needs clarification, what connections you can make to other ideas.
Okay.
And then when you take notes, even if it's just like bullet points,
Right.
it helps you kind of synthesize the information and make it your own.
So we're talking like underlining key points,
Yes.
maybe like summarizing a paragraph in our own words,
Exactly.
writing down questions.
Yes. And don't be afraid to get creative. You can draw diagrams, you can make mind maps,
Oh.
you can use different colored highlighters.
I love it.
The key is to just find what works for you.
Yes. Okay, so this next tip is kind of like giving yourself a pop quiz after you read,
Yeah.
which is summarize what you read.
Yes.
I am terrible at summarizing. Do you have any tips? Well, so first of all, remember, a summary isn't about like retelling the entire story.
Or the article, it's about pulling out those key points.
Okay.
The main arguments and the author's conclusions.
It's like a highlight reel.
Exactly. Yes. It's like creating a highlight reel of the most important information.
Okay. So instead of remembering every single detail, I'm really just trying to get the essence of it.
Yes. And if you find yourself struggling to summarize, that's a really good indication that you need to go back and revisit some parts of that text.
I like that that's like a little check-in.
Yeah, exactly.
For yourself. Okay, so let's talk about reading different genres.
Yes.
Why is it so important to like venture out of our comfort zone?
Yeah, well, think about it this way. Each genre is going to expose you to all sorts of new vocabulary.
Okay.
Different writing styles, different cultural perspectives. So like, if you're reading news articles, it's helping you stay informed about current events. It's expanding your knowledge of like factual reporting.
Right.
Then you've got novels that can immerse you in storytelling.
Yeah.
Introduce you to all sorts of literary devices. Yeah.
Blogs offer personal perspectives and often use more informal language.
Right.
And then academic papers, they really challenge you with complex ideas and specialized terminology.
You know, I've been on such a historical fiction kick lately.
Oh, fun.
And it's crazy how much I'm learning about different time periods and cultures. Like I'm traveling through time.
That's the beauty of reading.
On my couch.
Yeah.
So cool. Okay, and that brings us to our last but certainly not least tip, which is make reading a daily habit.
Yes.
Consistency is key.
It is.
But life gets in the way sometimes, you know?
Right.
So how do we actually make this happen?
Well, I would say start small.
Okay.
You know, even just 10 or 15 minutes each day can make a difference.
Okay.
And find a time that works for you. Maybe it's first thing in the morning with your coffee. Maybe it's during your lunch break.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's right before you go to sleep.
Right.
But the most important thing is to choose material that you enjoy.
Yes.
Because reading should not feel like a chore. It should be fun.
Right.
So find something that sparks your curiosity, whether it's a, gripping thriller, a thought-provoking blog, or even just the back of the cereal box.
The back of the cereal box. I love it.
Just make it part of your routine.
Yeah, absolutely.
So before we wrap up this deep dive,
I
would love for you to leave our listeners with a little question to ponder.
Okay, so listeners, I want you to think about what is one change that you can make in your reading habits today based on what we've talked about?
What's one thing you can implement right now?
Yes.
I am personally going to try that read aloud technique.
Yes.
And I'm going to use that 5-finger rule.
Those are great ones.
And remember, guys, becoming a better reader is a journey.
It is.
It's not a destination.
Yeah, you're always learning.
So pick a tip. Start small and enjoy the ride.
Exactly.
Thanks for joining us for another deep dive. We'll see you next time.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Happy reading.
Happy reading.
Bye.